It's all about looking poor and not showing off. You've probably seen a lot of videos going around on YouTube, or a lot of people saying things like it's important to look poor, or why looking poor is like the new big thing. And really, they're all just trying to talk to you about lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation is basically when your expenses continue to keep up pace with your increases in pay. In this video, we're going to talk about 4 reasons why you should try to fight lifestyle inflation and 4 things you can do now to help you fight it. The first reason you want to try to fight lifestyle inflation is because of inflation. When you're engaging in lifestyle inflation, basically your expenses are going up. But right now, compared to I think many years prior, the cost of goods to maintain your current lifestyle have also gone up, whether you like it or not. And I'm not talking about just 1% or 2%. I have seen, for example, grocery store prices go up as much as 20, 30, 40% for things that just don't need to be that much more expensive. Especially over the last few years, the cost of everything has gone up so much, as well as the amount of product that you're getting has decreased in size, and oftentimes even the quality of the product has gone down. And this doesn't just extend to food and groceries and rent and all of that, even just like everyday casual things that you might get. For example, a literal foam board that used to be for $1.50 at the dollar store is now $4. I'll insert an image here. This is ridiculous to me. This is something, first of all, it's the dollar store. The dollar store has not been the dollar store in a long time, but this is ridiculous. It's a literal foam board. Everything is the same, but I guess they're using colored ink now, so they're justifying like a 260% price increase. So it's things like that across the board. Everything is becoming way, way more expensive at a much faster rate than I've ever seen before. For this reason, I don't think right now is a good time to even consider lifestyle inflation. I think a lot of us are feeling the squeeze in our budgets because it's just too expensive to even maintain our current lifestyles. If anything, we need to look at lifestyle deflation or something. Second reason you want to try to fight lifestyle inflation is because keeping up with the Joneses actually keeps you further behind in life and your life goals. If you're finding that you feel the need to constantly upgrade either your car, your electronics, your clothes, your accessories, or the things you post online, things like that, all that stuff requires a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort, and it can be really exhausting. The big issue with all of this is that it requires you to continuously make more money to keep up with the things that you already have and the purchases you want to make to renew everything that you have so that you have the latest everything. This results in a lot of stress and financial strain, and it also keeps you from being able to save and invest for your future, for your retirement, or whatever it is that you have planned for yourself. So essentially, the opportunity cost of looking cool or looking not poor now is that you're gonna have financial insecurity in the future. And for me, I've really thought about it. Honestly, I've let go, I think, of a lot of things just because it's so exhausting to even keep up with what is on trend or what's new or whatever. I don't think I really paid that much attention before either, but the thought of having to put in that much attention into anything now is just so exhausting. Like, it is so draining to think about. Which leads me into the third reason for why you should fight lifestyle inflation, which is to try to preserve your mental health, because your mental health will suffer, and it tends to suffer a lot the more financial stress that you're in. The American Psychological Association reported that about 72% of people feel like they're in a constant state of worry or stress about money at any given point in time. And this financial stress can have a huge impact on your physical and mental well-being. You might find yourself more stressed out, resulting in poor sleep quality, a change in your mood, being a little bit more aggressive than usual, even being like low in energy. And so these are things that we want to avoid, and we can avoid if we try to step away from lifestyle inflation. Overall, the less bills you have to pay means less money you need to survive, and overall that results in a lot less stress. Having less overhead every single month means that you have more flexibility, and you won't feel as stressed out if, let's say, you get sick and need to take a day off, or if you feel like taking an extra vacation or something like that. You can go with unpaid time off. And I know that sometimes seems like such a far-fetched thing, like who would do that? The reason we think that way is because we don't feel like we're in a position that we can do that. We have to rely on our jobs in that way. And obviously you can't just keep taking time off whenever, but that's something to think about, because Having fewer expenses means that you have more flexibility in your budget, which means you can also save for your future and also not be as worried in the present. And probably the most biggest factor that we should really strive for fighting against lifestyle inflation is the fact that social media overstimulates us and makes us think that we have a lot less than we actually do. Social media is mostly about sharing your highlight reel, sharing the best moments in our lives, and we don't get to see the behind the scenes most of the time. But for ourselves, we're with ourselves 24/7. We're in our own heads. We know what we're thinking. We know what we're experiencing constantly. We know our financial situation. We know every detail about our own lives, obviously, right? So we have to live through and soak in every moment, every good moment and every bad moment. The bad moments we tend to focus on a lot naturally because we're human. And so it makes us think our lives are not as great as they actually are. They're amazing. We're very lucky, very blessed. Most of us, like a lot of us, especially if you're in a first world country and you have a lot of, structures in place that help you succeed. Whether you're not as successful as another person is a different story, but you're still doing a lot better than a lot of other people in the world if you think about it like that. But we don't see the suffering of other people for the most part, especially when giant corporations are trying to suppress genocide that's going on and things like that. But we follow and are exposed to all these people that are so successful and have these lavish lifestyles and access to so much wealth and resources. We tend to think that we have nothing or we've done nothing with our lives compared to other people that are maybe in the same age group or even younger than us and are way more ahead financially or just like aesthetically. But the reality is that there's a lot of other things that are probably going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. A lot of struggle that we don't know about, personal struggles, financial struggles, everything. A lot of these people even finance their lives on social media, and it helps them get more brand deals and more social media awareness, and helps them create their own brands to eventually then make money. So it's all very complicated, and we should definitely not be comparing our behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. That saying is so accurate. So those are some reasons why I think we should try to fight lifestyle inflation. But now, what can we do about it right now? So here are 4 things that we can start and work on right now, bit by bit. First one being track your spending. And I know that that's such a basic thing, but it's really important to really understand at least a general idea of what is going on with your finances. If you do this, and if you do a thorough job of tracking your spending, you might find that you're spending a lot more in categories you thought you were being more frugal in, or that weren't big lines in your budget. Once those expenses are identified, that's when you can decide to cut them out or reduce them as much as you can if they're not important to you. Which leads me into my second point. Second thing you can do right now is to reallocate the money that you're currently spending on things you actually want to spend the money on. So for example, if you don't value something and you're spending a lot of money on it, see if you can find a cheaper alternative, or see if you can cut those expenses altogether and then use that money to improve your lifestyle but stay within your current budget. So for example, I do not like to buy clothes. I actually have a lot, thankfully. Every so often do get a lot of clothes because I get clothes from back home, etc., whatever. But I'm not particularly interested in spending a lot of money on clothes. I'd rather spend that money on food or traveling or something else. And so the money that I save from not going shopping every single week or every single month, I'm able to spend that money elsewhere, which I tend to spend on food. I also don't spend all of that money just on food. What I can do is I save some of that money instead for future things. For example, whether that's like I want to go traveling in the future, or maybe make a big purchase on something that I'm really interested in, I'm able to reallocate that money and use that elsewhere where I will find more value and enjoyment from it. Third thing you can do would be to do it yourself wherever you can. And this doesn't mean do it yourself, make your own furniture or something like that. Like, it literally means every single thing that, you can just offload a lot of the things that you would normally be doing. So for example, if you're feeling tired, if you don't have access, or if you didn't plan accordingly, you can just Uber to different places. Try to make the effort so that you're not Ubering everywhere. Make the effort so that you don't have to constantly Uber, or maybe look for cheaper forms of transportation if you rely primarily on a car or something like that. Another really basic or simple thing you could do now is stop using as many delivery apps and try to make the food yourself. It'll be healthier, it'll be cheaper, and honestly, it's about the same amount of time. At least where I live, I feel like I can make food in the amount of time that it would take for the food to be delivered to me, so I'd rather just make it myself. Everything that you DIY will usually result in you saving a lot more money, especially the smaller things, because it's easy to just, order something or order a service online so that you don't have to do it, but that obviously is a convenience and you're paying a convenience fee as a result. And so that's why ordering takeout or getting getting it delivered costs more than if you were to just make a simple meal at home, and it's usually way more nutritious. And the last thing I recommend is try to keep track of prices for regular and irregular purchases, because you will find that you can get deals if you're just a little bit patient or a little bit smarter with how you're spending your money. This will result in you being able to stay within budget and get better quality items. So that means trying to price match, use coupons, wait for sales and wait for deals wherever you are, use discounts if you have specific types of memberships already, whether it's through work or other places. And the advantage of this is that basically you'll be able to stretch your dollar further, and if you want to get something nicer and it would inflate your lifestyle and kind of fall in the category of keeping up with the Joneses, but if you can get at a lower price of something that you would otherwise be able to afford or that you were going to get anyway, that kind of cuts the inflation part a bit and helps you stay within budget, within your means. When it comes to groceries, for example, lifestyle inflation, keep that aside, it's just inflation, it's just price gouging. I don't know what's going on, but everything is so expensive now. If you use a lot of the tools that I've shared in other videos, which I'll link here or here, you can use those tools to literally save 40 to 50%. Just this past week, like 2 days ago, I went grocery shopping. I saved about 40% on my grocery bill because I price matched and shopped sales. And you can do whatever works for you. I didn't even use coupons, so you can probably save even more if you were to use coupons. But if you take those strategies from that video, it'll help you save a lot more money and help you fight this lifestyle inflation that's honestly to some degree being like forced upon us because of this price gouging. That brings me to the end of my video. I hope this was helpful. I hope that you find ways to help you stay within your budget and still have a good quality of life. I do want to say one last thing. I don't particularly like the way the framing of this trend of videos was, because it kind of implies, it's a little condescending, it implies that the current way that you're living is poor. But I guess it's a bit, the point is to be a little bit clickbaity and to grab your attention and then provide you with valuable information. I don't know, whenever I see like videos of that type of nature, it kind of like bothers me a little bit. I think the point that a lot of people were trying to make with these videos was that lifestyle inflation is not something that we should be just embracing, because it ends up doing more harm than good. That brings me to the end of my video. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below, and check out my socials and my website, and I'll see you guys in the next video. That's it. Ow, I'm hurting myself.